Every single day, tiny, invisible pieces of plastic make a journey from our food wrappers into the food we eat. These fragments are called microplastics, and they are everywhere. Scientists have discovered them floating in our tea, mixed into our milk, and even present in the bottles we use to feed our babies. This constant, low-level exposure is a modern problem with ancient roots. How do we keep our food safe without poisoning ourselves in the process? The plastics and the chemicals they contain can accumulate in our bodies over many years. Some of these substances can mimic our natural hormones, creating a subtle but persistent disruption that may harm both children. The vast majority of the flexible films we use to wrap our food are made from plastics like low-density polyethylene terephthalate. We chose these materials for good reasons. They are incredibly cheap to produce, they are remarkably strong for their weight, and they keep many foods fresh. But this convenience comes with two big, often overlooked problems. The first, these plastics aren't as stable as we think, especially with heat. Microwaving food in a plastic container. Pouring boiling water into a plastic cup can make the plastic begin to break down. That breakdown releases a shower of microscopic particles into our meal. Studies now quantify this invisible contamination. The numbers are startling. Heating plastic containers can make them shed tens of thousands to millions of microplastics per square centimeter. One study found a single plastic tea bag released about 11.6 billion microplastics and 3.1 billion even smaller nanoplastics into 1 cup of tea. These aren't inert specks. They're foreign bodies our systems weren't designed to process. They're entering our diets from sources we thought were safe. The secret to seaweed's ability to form a protective film lies in long, complex sugar molecules called polysaccharides. Different types of seaweed produce different kinds of these molecules. Brown seaweeds, like kelp, are a rich source of a substance called alginate. Red seaweeds, which include species like Irish moss, provide a different substance known as carrageenan. On a molecular level, both alginates and carrageenans are long, chain-like polymers. When they are extracted from the seaweed and mixed with water to create a liquid solution, these long chains can be cast into a thin layer. As this layer dries, the chains link and cross-link with each other, forming a tight, interconnected mesh that becomes a solid, flexible film. This molecular mesh is what gives seaweed films their most valuable packaging property, an excellent barrier against oxygen. Oxygen is a major enemy of food freshness. It causes the fats in foods like nuts to go rancid. It causes the fats in foods like meats to go rancid, and it fuels the growth of aerobic bacteria that spoil fresh produce. The tightly packed structure of a seaweed film makes it very difficult for oxygen molecules to pass through, significantly slowing down these decay processes. This means that foods wrapped in seaweed can stay fresh for longer, preserving their flavor. The traditional methods for extracting valuable polymers like alginate and carrageenan from seaweed have been around for decades. These processes are often slow and require significant amounts of harsh chemicals and consume large volumes of water. Typically, the seaweed must be soaked for many hours in strong alkaline or acidic solutions to break down tough cell walls and release the desired compounds. Industrial-scale chemical processing is energy-intensive, generates substantial wastewater, and can degrade the quality of the final polymer. It's a brute force approach, not aligned with sustainable goals. Fortunately, modern science offers microwave-assisted extraction, MAE. MAE uses microwave energy to heat seaweed from the inside out. Water molecules inside cells vibrate rapidly, producing intense localized heat and pressure. That pressure ruptures cell walls, quickly releasing alginates and carrageenans into the solvent. Processes that took 24+ hours can now take hours or minutes with MAE. That cuts energy use and reduces the chemical solvents needed. When we think about food packaging, we almost exclusively think of it as a disposable barrier. Its job is to protect the food, and once that job is done, its value is gone. Seaweed films completely upend this concept by transforming the wrapper into a source of nutrition itself. Seaweeds absorb and concentrate minerals from the ocean. Films made from them are naturally rich in essential micronutrients often lacking in modern diets. One of the most significant of these is iodine, crucial for healthy thyroid function. A small edible seaweed film used as a spice sachet could provide a meaningful portion of daily iodine. Beyond iodine, they supply other valuable minerals: calcium, magnesium, potassium, iron. They also contain soluble dietary fiber. These are complex carbohydrates that our bodies do not fully digest, contributing very few calories. That soluble fiber has many health benefits. It can promote growth of beneficial gut bacteria, supporting a healthy microbiome. It can also bind with cholesterol in the digestive system, helping lower blood cholesterol. When evaluating any new packaging material, it must be compared against the incumbent conventional plastic film. In terms of performance, there are clear trade-offs. Plastic's greatest strength is its superb resistance to water. It has a very low water vapor transmission rate, excellent at keeping moisture out of dry products and keeping moisture inside wet products. Seaweed films, derived from water-soluble polymers, are naturally more sensitive to moisture. Their water vapor transmission rate is generally higher, less suitable for long shelf life in humid environments. A seaweed-wrapped cracker might lose its crispness faster than one in a plastic sleeve. However, seaweed films often outperform plastic in blocking oxygen, especially in dry conditions. The oxygen transmission rate of many seaweed-based films is remarkably low, ideal for protecting foods susceptible to oxidation: nuts, coffee, dried fruits, certain powdered supplements. While plastic is a good all-arounder, seaweed offers specialized protection against oxygen. This enables a tailored approach to packaging. Choose material based on the food's needs, not one-size-fits-all plastic. To address water sensitivity, engineers are developing hybrid solutions. Combine materials. Leverage the best properties of each. Example: a paper pouch, breathable and biodegradable, coated inside with a thin seaweed film. Another strategy: multi-layer films. One of the most compelling arguments for a seaweed-based economy is its potential to turn a pressing environmental problem into a valuable resource. In recent years, massive, unprecedented blooms of a floating seaweed called Sargassum have inundated coastlines across the globe: the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, West Africa. These enormous mats of seaweed wash ashore, sometimes piling up several feet high. As they decay, they release hydrogen sulfide gas, which smells like rotten eggs and can cause respiratory issues. They smother turtle nesting sites, kill coastal marine life by depleting oxygen in the water, and devastate local tourism-dependent economies. Currently, cleaning up this recurring deluge costs coastal communities millions of dollars each year. This crisis, however, contains an opportunity. These Sargassum blooms represent a vast, free, and readily available source of raw material, or feedstock, for producing alginates and other valuable compounds. Harvesting this seaweed from near-shore waters before it beaches can have a dual benefit. Any discussion of replacing plastic must confront the issue of cost. Currently, plastic derived from fossil fuels is extraordinarily cheap. This is the result of a century of technological optimization, massive economies of scale, government subsidies for the oil and gas industry. A new material like seaweed packaging, still produced at a small scale, cannot yet compete on price alone. Today, producing a kilogram of seaweed-based polymer costs significantly more than producing a kilogram of PET LDPE. This price difference is a major hurdle for widespread adoption, as most companies make purchasing decisions based on razor-thin margins. However, this economic picture is incomplete and rapidly changing. The cost of any new technology falls as production scales up. Graphic projected decrease in cost of seaweed polymers as annual production volume increases. The factories that produce plastic are massive, multi-billion-dollar refineries. In contrast, the biorefineries needed to process seaweed can be much smaller, more modular, and built with a lower initial capital investment. Economic models show that as the industry matures and a single biorefinery reaches a production capacity of around 50,000 tons per year, the price of seaweed polymers can fall dramatically, becoming competitive with many conventional and bio-based plastics. Furthermore, as governments begin to impose taxes on carbon emissions or mandate plastic recycling content, the true cost of fossil-based plastic will rise, further leveling the playing field. The carbon footprint of these materials also tells a critical part of the story. The evidence is clear. We face a genuine and growing risk from plastics in our food system, but in seaweed we have an elegant, natural, powerful solution. Edible films made from this ocean plant can protect our food. They can enhance nutritional value. They can gracefully return to the earth. Seaweed also helps clean our oceans, and it captures carbon from the atmosphere. The path to replacing plastic has real challenges. We must improve the material's resistance to water. We must navigate a complex global regulatory landscape. We must persuade the public to try eating packaging. Still, the potential reward far outweighs the obstacles. Seaweed packaging lets us redesign single-use materials. It transforms a linear waste path into a circular system of nutrition. That future is cleaner, safer, and more connected to nature. This breakthrough is practical and inspiring for a circular economy. To accelerate change, food industry leaders must act decisively. The time for small trials is ending. Bold commitment is here. First, secure a long-term, stable, sustainable seaweed supply. Move beyond opportunistic harvesting. Make strategic investments in seaweed aquaculture. Forge long-term partnerships with seaweed farmers. Fund regional biorefineries.